going to begin tonight's proceedings with the big news that's happened in the last few days, which is there's a new sheriff in town in New York. There's a new sheriff in town in New Jersey, in East Rutherford. Jaxson Dart, quarterback, third string quarterback, some may say, for the New York Giants, has been named the starter for this weekend's big matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. They're hosting them in East Rutherford, New Jersey. That means Russell Wilson is going to be riding the bench once again alongside his pal Jameis Winston. I assume they're pals. They might not be. They might not like each other, but we're going to say, for argument's sake, they are pals. After losing 22-9 against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 3, that puts them to 1-2 on the season. In fact, 0-3 on the season. Hence why Jaxson Dart has come in. Adam, the 25th overall pick in this draft that's just gone from it was at USC, wasn't he? Yeah.
No.
He was at Ole Miss.
It was at Ole Miss. Sorry, it's because he was at USC and then he transferred to Ole Miss. It doesn't say that on my old notes here. But you sort of, how do I put this politely, lost your shit over it on the WhatsApp group. Why?
That's a bit extreme, I think.
Is this not positive for the New York Giants, slinging in their rookie quarterback with zero starting NFL experience, Week 3 against the Chargers team that looks like they could be heading for the AFC Championship?
I feel like you don't need me to answer that question based on all them points that you've just come out and come up with. I think this is lunacy. Is probably the nicest way to put it. I think he will be better than Russell Wilson? Yes. That's not difficult. I think one of us could probably have a go at being better than Russell Wilson at the moment. Because unless he's playing a team whose defense is appalling, like the Cowboys, then he can't do anything. So I completely understand the desire to move away from Russell Wilson. I would question what the point of them having Jameis Winston on the roster is. Like, why is he even there then if the argument is, we're going to throw the rookie in already? So that seems weird. I thought Jaxson Dart was decent in preseason. We saw that he put some decent drives together, looked pretty good. I can't understand the logic of putting him in when you're playing against the Chargers. And I don't know, it's at home, isn't it? So it is a home game, but you're still playing against one of the best defenses from last year and a defense that's looked pretty good in the first 3 games as well. So it just feels mental to be doing this, because I just think he needs time and he needs to develop. And I know that I come at it from a slightly different point of view with a lot of people, because I suppose I'm a Packers fan and I've seen what has worked over the last few years. And the fact is that giving Rodgers the time to sit helped him, and giving Love the time to sit has clearly helped him. Although, maybe not last week, but for everything else, he is a much better quarterback now. And when he came in at the time he did, compared to when he played like one random game against the Chiefs the year before. And it feels that it's quite a tried and tested method, that if you give these rookie quarterbacks time, they normally develop and do well. And I think that Jaxson Dart will show that he can rush the ball. He can run with the ball, which Russell Wilson just can't anymore. And there'll probably be a bit of excitement and everyone will turn up and he'll have some good plays. But there's going to be times where he's going to end up getting hit badly by the Chargers defense, because they are that good, and he's going to probably end up throwing an interception or two, because he is that the Chargers defense is that good. And then it's really just about, can he cope with that? And it just kind of feels like The Giants have got a tough schedule this year. There isn't there is no right place to put him in, but it kind of feels a little bit like he's just not getting any experience, and you're just going to throw him to the wolves. And I just think it's a bad organisation that have made loads of bad decisions, and they're just making another bad decision.
Bring you back to the schedule for a second. I mean, like you said, the Chargers at home, then they're at the New Orleans Saints. I mean, it's not a litmus test game, let's be honest with you. Then they're hosting the Eagles at Denver, then at the Eagles, then hosting the 49ers, then at the Bears, then hosting the Packers, then at the Lions, then at the Patriots. They're playing what? 1, 2, could call it 3, 4 of the best top 4 of the top 10 defenses in the league before their bye week in week 14. Then they host the Commanders, host the Vikings, at the Raiders, host the Cowboys for the last game of the season. The spin on it, Sky, is I don't think any NFL well, you could argue with the talent they have. Is there a right way to be getting your rookie quarterback into a team? Because we've seen it in different ways. Mahomes sat the whole time for Alex Smith, comes in, is incredible. Lamar Jackson sat till the last 2 games of the season. The Ravens are basically out of it. Flacco got dropped. Jackson came in, played last 4 to 2 games, I think it was. Kyler Murray started day 1. Caleb Williams started day 1. Kenny Pickett came in after about 4 weeks. There's probably loads more on the top of my head that I could go after 5 weeks, after this many weeks. Mac Jones, your quarterback, not Mac Jones, Drake May, but Mac Jones as well. Mac Jones was day 1 starter, wasn't he? Was Drake May day 1 starter?
Drake May was week 3 last year, funnily enough.
Week 3.
Week 3 he came in.
Week 3. I know I've just mentioned them quarterbacks, and as I've mentioned them, they've got worse and worse and worse, really, haven't they, when I've talked about it. But Mahomes is on an unreal level. Jackson is on an unreal level. May, we think, can be on an unreal level. Kyler, for all is said and done, has played at a very decent standard. Caleb, we still don't know where we're at yet. We were quite negative about him last week. Kenny Pickett, no longer a starter in this league, not even probably a second string in this league anymore, to be honest with you. What do you think? Do you think it's each? Is it quarterback by quarterback? Is it feel? Is it draft position? What is the right method for these rookies to come in at?
The thing I saw really interesting the other day, I don't know, you guys might not have seen this, but there was obviously the Patriots Hall of Fame, and there was Edelman and Bill Parcells, and someone shared a thing online where Bill Parcells did his. I wrote this down, and it's about his requirements for drafting a quarterback, and it was must be a 3-year starter, must have started at least 30 games, and be a winner of 23 wins or more. And then it was like 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio, 60% pass completion, etc. And the reason I mentioned that is because Jaxson Dart's college, he did have 3 years where he played 28-13 record, 65.2%, pass completion, 81 touchdowns to 27 picks. And I think it's interesting in the NFL that we spend all offseason talking about who's the best, their intangibles, etc. We always talk about college. And then when they're in the league, everyone sort of forgets about what they've done in college, and then it's sort of like, let's focus on this organization and I think as much as Adam is right in that they're throwing him to the Lions because of the teams that they're playing, you have to sort of account for that. People do it's a bit different to when we had Jerome Mayo last year and then we threw Drake May, and people do think that Daboll's still a capable head coach when they made the playoffs a couple of years ago. Maybe some people disagree with that now, but he's obviously trying to save his job. You would like to think that as badly as they are run, he at least wanted Jaxson Dart as his quarterback. So, of course, he's going to start him now because he's got to show that there's some growth and he can at least, develop a team. Because they have got some nice young pieces, Scatterboo, Neighbours, decent players on the defense who kept them in that game last week. It was just the offense that let them down. So, I guess it's a bit of I've given you a long-winded answer saying it does depend on each sort of quarterback. But I do think in this situation, as bad as the Giants are, it's not like, even in Drake May's case, Jaxson Dart played more games in college than Drake May. I think he actually is ready to at least give it a go. And in his press conference, he said they asked him about starting, and he was like, I'm ready. You've got to be on your shit, point blank. And I was like, do you know what? He sounds like fair play. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it is head scratchy to me still, though. I mean, I do think Wilson's not played well. He's had 3 games. He's passed for under 200 yards. He passed for 157 and 151 against the Commanders and Chiefs. Terrible. threw for 422 against the Cowboys, but we've seen this Cowboys defense, and they're not great. He's thrown for what, 3 touchdowns? Didn't throw for any touchdowns in that. Sorry, he's had 3 turnovers. Apologies on that one. He's only thrown for 1 touchdown. Am I right in that? No,
he only
I might not right
against Dallas. Right? Like he looked awful against the Commanders, and then Cowboys.
He's 6th in attempts at 110, 6th in yards 778. He's had 3 touchdowns. Sorry, 3 interceptions. Sorry, I've misread the 1 touchdown. He's had 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's 15th in first downs with 31, 26th in pass success rate, 40, which is 40.2, 20th in QBR, which is 54.3, and joint 9th in sacks, which is 7. So when you hear the 6th, you're like, oh, well, that's pretty good. It was 1 game. It was 1 game. Now, I know they've only had 3 games, but that was just 1 game. He's been pretty woeful in the other 2. And when the Giants have got this defense, it's a young, good defense, and we think it's good. I'm pretty confident that it's pretty decent. This defense can go places if it develops and develops. You need that offense to complement it. And Sky, you said it right there. Neighbors, Scatterboo, Tyrone Tracy when he's healthy. Wandale Robinson, I think, is a pretty decent utility wide receiver as well. I think there's a lot right there. The one thing, Adam, is which is Andrew's defense a lot for the Giants is, well, he's never had his quarterback, Daboll. He's never had his guy. He never wanted Daniel Jones. He never wanted the guys that he got given. Well, he's been there a while now. He's got his quarterback. He's now thrown his quarterback in quite early for most people, I suppose. Surely this is such hot seat. If this goes badly for the rest of the season, it could go very positively. We don't know. But let's say this goes badly for the rest of the season. He loses his job here, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be surprised if he doesn't. I mean, to be honest, even like you say, even if it goes well, I mean, how well can it go based on what's happening here? I mean, you're dealing with a rookie who's never played before. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get. But the other thing is, how well can it actually go? Because you are going up against a Chargers team, so you're probably going to lose that one. You're going up against the Eagles twice. You're probably going to lose at least one of them, probably 2. You're going up against the Broncos team. You're going up against the 49ers. Okay, not as great as what they were, but still a decent team. The Packers, the Lions, the Bears. You know, you got the Bears, the Patriots. If he's decent, then they become like coin flip games.
You rely sorry to interrupt you. You rely heavily on your defense keeping you in the game there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That puts a lot of reps on them. And yet we're running down the list. The Saints is the only easy game, but you say the 49ers. 49ers are winning games. You don't know what they're going to be like by week 9, but they're winning games. The Bears, week 10, we don't really know what they are yet. We think they might have some momentum. They're seen as one of the weaker teams. The Patriots seen was a weaker team at the minute in week 13. They may have found some form by then. The Raiders by week 17, who we're not sure are a very good team just yet, they may have found some form. Like it is week 3. There is a lot that can happen, but from what we're seeing visually now, it's out the frying pan into the fire, isn't it?
Essentially, yeah. And this is the problem. And this is what I'm saying about bringing in a rookie quarterback at this time. It feels that it's just like, yeah, he could be decent. Like chances are he will probably be all right. It's his first year. He's not going to do anything amazing, but he will be all right. He will be decent. If that happens, then great. You know you've got yourself a quarterback. But chances are you're not going to win loads of games from this. And the fact is, if they have a season where they win 5 games, 6 games, Daboll's gone. They're not going to hang. It was on the hot seat anyway last year, and it was almost like he's gone. So then what are we doing? Now we've got a quarterback who's going into his 2nd season and a brand new head coach. And what happens normally when a brand new head coach comes into a team? They want their own quarterback. The organization is a joke. That is the problem. They're so misguided. It's all over the place. We were talking about Caleb Williams and Chicago just last week, and we were coming out going that we feel that Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams maybe not 100% at the moment. Maybe in time they will be, but at the moment it's not 100% right. Yes, they did well last week. They played against the Cowboys, whose defense is appalling. So, you know, we don't, like you say, we don't really know. But the point is, if it's not his guy, he's probably not going to want him over time. He'll get rid of him and he'll bring in his guy who he does want. And you're going to end up with another head coach, and you're doing the cycle all wrong again. And you just need to let him sit. But they're not going to, because they're desperate. And it's got disaster written all over it.
And does iron make iron? Does the coal become the diamond that it needs to be, or does it go poorly again? And let's say he does have an okay season, right? And they've got, let's call it the 11th pick in the draft. Yeah, they've got their quarterback, they've got their left tackle, they've got their edge rusher, they've got their weapon. Like, what is it? A lockdown corner they make? They might want a bookend right tackle to make it. But like, what? Okay, you get another top tier, but how many top? These guys are going to have to get paid at some point as well. Bear in mind, and if Jaxson Dart's your guy, you can't pay Dart, you can't pay Malik, and you can't pay Abdul Carter. Brian Burns gets 2 years older, let's say. The money is then going to run out. Like, you've got to be so intricate with the timing of these things, don't you, as well? And then Cam Scatterby, from what we've seen so far, looks like is an exciting runner. Okay, his running might lead to injury because he's a hard-nosed runner, but he may want top-end running back money when it comes to it if he can progress in the right way. It is that money pot. Is Andrew Thomas, if he needs a new contract at some given point, that might have to be a case as well. That money pot is something that maybe you have to run out. Think about secondary sky, but how much more does this team need? Like, what? Because if Jaxson Dart isn't it, I don't really know what is it.
I feel like that as an organization, they're probably doing that thing where, like, obviously Daboll would have had involvement in the draft process, right? But you like a guy the same way when, like, Gerard Mayo weren't the guy who picked Drake May. Obviously, like, you've got your other people who are scouts and GMs, etc. So they probably know, like Adam said, Daboll is going to get fired, but then you just get a coach who's bought into that quarterback. Like, we know Ben Johnson went because of Caleb Williams, right? He clearly saw some potential there. Played coached against him twice last year. Vrabel, like Drake May. Wouldn't surprise me if, I don't know, Cliff Kingsbury probably wants another crack at a head coach job, right? Division rival. Maybe he would end up the head coach next year of the Giants. And then they sort of go to Daboll. Oh, yeah, because Daboll actually said in the media, it was my decision about the change. And as soon as he said that, I was like, well, I don't know, like, you saying that doesn't really make me believe you. He's not very charismatic in press conferences anyway. But like you said, they probably will make that change because they'll be conscious of they're in a strong division. They know that people are going to get paid in a few years. So you do that thing where you sort of go, yeah, okay, Daboll, it's, this is your ship. You keep steering it along for us. But really, GM will stay, and then the guys above will just hope that they see it need at least enough development so that they can entice an offensive-minded coach, or at least someone who can bring the best out of all those guys you mentioned.
I think we're also seeing it around the NFL at the minute. The guys who are good head coaches, really just good coordinators, and actually pretty bad coordinators. When you look around the league at the minute, we're seeing guys that are going other places, ex-head coaches, new head coaches. And I think we're starting to see, the guys that, yeah, they've got head coach potential. Yeah, he was a head coach, but he's way better as a coordinator, really. He couldn't get that done in other places. And then you've got some coordinators at other places who were a head coach and have been a coordinator, and you go, they actually are just not it. And maybe it might be a case for Brian Daboll in the end is actually just a really good coordinator and not much of a, not head coach. There's nothing wrong with that. There's some very, very good guys who have stepped down from head coaching roles who have been taken away and have been sacked, and then they've gone to another team and been very successful coordinators. Brian Flores being one of them, notably at the minute. Dennis Allen's doing a pretty good job as well at the moment.